What if I told you that the problem with procrastination isn't in your willpower, but in a simple number, 20 seconds? The greatest neuroscience experts have discovered that the human brain gives up on any task that takes more than 20 seconds to start. That's right. 20 seconds are what separate people who take action from those who stay stuck in the eternal loop of "I will start tomorrow." And today you are going to discover how to use this rule to eliminate procrastination from your life forever. Let's be honest, that important project that you keep putting off, the email you've needed to reply to for days, the workout you've been skipping. You know you need to do it. You want to do it, but something always seems to stop you. And no, it's not laziness. Have you noticed how easy it is to spend hours scrolling on Instagram, but when it comes to starting that important task, it feels like there is an invisible wall holding you back? We all know this feeling. You look at the task and feel a weight and internal resistance. It's almost as if your brain was programmed to avoid it at all costs. And the worst part is that the more you delay, the more guilty we feel. Guilty creates anxiety. Anxiety creates more procrastination. And we end up trapped in a destructive cycle. As a programmer, I saw this happen to me all the time. I had a bug to fix, but instead of facing it, I would invent 1,000 other urgent tasks to do first. And I will tell you something few people realize. Procrastination isn't a character flaw, it's a design problem. Your brain was literally designed to resist effort, and this resistance has a very specific time limit. This is where the 20-second rule comes in. Discovered by Harvard psychologist Shawakar, this rule explains that the human brain seeks the path of least resistance. And if an activity takes more than 20 seconds to start, your brain will automatically look for an easier alternative. 20 seconds, that's all that separates action from inaction. But this also means the solution is surprisingly simple. If you reduce the starting time to less than 20 seconds, your brain simply won't have time to resist. I will simplify this into 3 steps that form the PIA framework: prepare, initiate, and automate. First, you need to prepare the environment. The key here is to eliminate any barrier that might prevent you from starting. If it takes more than 20 seconds to start something, you need to redesign the environment. Let's say you want to read more books, but never find the time. The problem might be that the book is stored on the shelf. You need to get up, walk over there, look for the book, and only then start reading. That's already exceed your 20 seconds. The solution? Leave the book open at the right page, exactly where you will see tomorrow. By eliminating these small frictions, you bypass brain resistance. After that, you need to start small, ridiculously small. And now comes something that might seem ridiculous, but works like magic. Reduce the initial task to something so small that it would be harder to not do it than do it. If you procrastinate studying, don't commit to studying for 2 hours. Commit to studying for 1 minute. 1 page, 1 line of code, a single push-up. It's so small that your brain doesn't have time to create resistance. And here is the interesting part. And I discovered this the hard way when I had to program complex features. Once you start, the law of inertia works in your favor. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. Newton explained this centuries ago. Remember the last day you finally started that difficult task and thought, why was I avoiding this for so long? It's not that bad. That's because the real obstacle was never the task itself. It was starting. And finally, you need to automatize the decision. The idea here is to completely remove decision making from the equation. Every decision you need to make drains your willpower. Should I start now or after coffee? Am I in the right mood? What if I leave it for tomorrow? These small decisions are what psychologists call friction points, and each one increases the chance of procrastination. The solution for this? Mental automation. Establish a specific trigger that automatically leads to action, with no room for deliberation. For example, after I drink coffee, I will immediately open the document. No thinking, no questioning. This is like programming an algorithm in our brain, you know. In code, we create conditions using if-else, but what does this mean? Basically, if a certain action happens, then do this or do that. In our case here, it would be if after I drink coffee, then open document. And believe me, this is in theory. Great athletes, CEOs, and even astronauts use this technique. But wait, there is a crucial element I haven't mentioned yet. Something that will boost the results of this technique by up to 300%. Let's now look at the practical applications of 20-second rule in real situations. The first technique is to create a zero friction environment. If you procrastinate on exercising, leave your workout clothes and shoes ready next to your bed. Even better, sleeping in your workout clothes. If you want to play guitar more often, don't store it in the closet. Leave the guitar on the stand, tuned, in the middle of the room. If you are not focusing on work, eliminate distractions beforehand. Close browser tabs, silence your phone and put it in another room. When I was evolving in programming, I wanted to increase my productivity and create more code in less time. Back then, I created my code environment. Basically, I closed all tabs, turned off all notifications and left only the code editor open. And the result was that my productivity skyrocketed because I eliminated all the friction to get started. The second technique is the inverted 20-second rule. Now comes the brilliant part. You can also use this rule in reverse. For habits you want to eliminate, add 20 seconds of friction. If you spend too much time on social media, install the apps. This adds the friction of having to reinstall them each time. If you don't want to uninstall the app, you can log out from your account, and when you access the app you need to log in again, and this is friction. If you eat too much at night, store the junk food at the back of a high cabinet. Wrap it in paper inside a container with a lid. Each barrier adds friction. Man, sometimes I was working and my cell phone was right here next to me. I would get a notification and look at it. By the time I realized it, I was already automatically scrolling through Instagram. And my solution to this was to leave the phone in another room. And this greatly increases the friction, preventing the automatic behavior from happening. Is this a bit extreme? Maybe. But is it effective? This is absolutely effective. The third technique is the quick activation method. This is a technique that few people know about, but it has a transformative power. Create a 20-second ritual that serves as a trigger to enter a state of focus. It could be 3 deep breaths, a sip of water, stretching your arms, anything that signals to your brain, now it's the time to work. And here's the secret that changed my life. Set a timer for 2 minutes, not 20 seconds, as soon as you start the task. The human brain hates leaving cycles incomplete. Once you start those 2 minutes, the chance of continuing afterward increases by 8%. I started using a 2-minute timer to start debugging some bug or something, telling myself, I will just look at this for 2 minutes. 9 out of 10, I kept working far beyond that time. But there is an important detail you need to know about how to implement this consistently. The truth is that the 20-second rule works because it respects how your brain was designed to function. It's not about fighting against your nature. It's about working with it. Let's recap. First, you prepare, eliminating friction and reducing starting time to less than 20 seconds. Then you start with something so small that it would be ridiculous to not do it. Finally, you automate, removing decision making and creating clear action triggers. Remember when I mentioned that crucial element to boost your results? It is consistency. Applying this once isn't enough. You need to transform it into a system. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural pathways, requires repetition. Each time you overcome procrastination using the 20-second rule, you strengthen the brain circuits that facilitate action. It's like creating a path in the jungle. The first time it's difficult, there's almost no trail. But by the 100th time, that path is already formed and you hardly notice the effort. And now, the challenge. Choose just one task you have been procrastination on. Apply the 20-second rule today. Reduce the friction to less than 20 seconds. Commit to just 2 minutes of action and see what happens. Share your experience in the comments of this video. Comment on which task you choose and how you reduced the friction. And finally, what happened when you finally started? Remember, procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's a design problem, and now you have the blueprint to redesign it. 20 seconds, that's all that separates those who do from those who only dream.